Welcome back to the podcast, Brad.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I think the day this comes out is our missions banquet.
Yeah.
And so it's fitting. You know, our last discussion was just life and fun stuff. And,
Right.
So it feels good this time to talk about missions, man. You're the missions pastor.
I am.
And, you know, obviously missions is a huge heartbeat of our church, which is fitting because on our ski trip, you know, we kind of broke that down with our college students going back to Genesis. God is a missionary God. It's kind of cool.
Right.
That was fun. So, man, for you, I would love to hear. We have, dude, how many trips do we have in the year, just roughly speaking?
I think we're right around 25.
So that's amazing. All right, so we have 25 trips, and those range from time like of around what's an average trip?
A week.
Okay.
All the way to when we go to the Himalayas, it's like 15 days.
Nice. Okay, so like 7 to 15 days.
Yeah, and we do stuff all the way from like around the state of Arkansas to, I mean, really the ends of the earth.
That's awesome. Okay, so then that would beg the question, like, why or what is the importance of like short-term missions?
Right. So locally, and let me even back up to your previous thing, like we do events locally, like we do, we have a partnership with Oakland School here in town where we do the Back to School Bash, and we are regularly going and giving teachers snacks, and we provided lunch during parent teacher conferences. So that's like an hour here and an hour there. And
That's
so
awesome.
like locally we do that. We do disaster relief, which I think honestly may be the best ministry that we do as far as how do we have gospel conversations with people? Like really, I'm not going to tell you the gospel, but I'll share the gospel with you. And so we do flood recovery. We do tornado, hurricane. We did a fire recovery last year, I think in either West Texas or New Mexico or Arizona.
Yeah.
And we do a box ministry. So like a tornado comes in, hits your house. We've partnered with Tyson, and they help us get these wax boxes, like wax covered cardboard boxes.
Okay.
And we go and we would help you box up all the stuff that you can find.
Wow.
And so just people that are going through just a terrible time, it provides us an opportunity to just love them like Jesus would and come beside them in a real tragedy and hopefully be able to share the love of Jesus with people. So, you know, that's probably as local as we go. And then as far as we go, you know, the Himalayas, we go to Africa, we go to the Middle East, we go to Southeast Asia. And in those places, we're partnering with International Mission Board teams to do short-term work. And so strategically for them and for us, it multiplies their work. So where we go in the Middle East, they're able to do in 1 week what would normally take them a month. So if they have, you know, a team every month, that's an extra 12, you know, months of work that they can do. And so strategically, if we're talking about reaching the ends of the earth, if there's, you know, 6 billion people that are lost, dying and going to hell, like it's everything that we can do to get more people on the field long term and to provide support for them while they do the work. So yes, it amplifies the work, but I hope it provides encouragement for them also. And that's been a really big point of emphasis for us with our partners, is that encouragement piece of, we love you, we remember you. Here's a little taste of home. Here's your kids' homeschool books that are really difficult for you to get here. We can bring them and just provide some love for them that may be difficult to get when, you know, you're 6,000 miles away from home.
I think I've heard we've used the word like strategic partners, right? Which I love that you've helped us think about that, because like who we partner with matters, and like you want to have good partners. And I feel like you've really helped establish a lot. And it's really neat to see how God has really blessed us with some great partners around the world, both, you know, locally, nationally, worldwide. And I love hearing that it's not like, because sometimes missions is just, but it's everything. And I love how it's like, look, we got options all across the board. Right. And it benefits the people we're going to, but it also benefits like the people who go, right? What are some?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I think people sometimes forget that. Like we often think, and it's designed where you're going to impact the people. Right. And that's actually twofold that I hear you saying. It's not just the people who don't know Jesus, but it's also our actual partners.
100%.
And I think that's pretty cool for people to think about, like the way that you just like something as simple as a homeschool book that they really like have a heart to, and you can bless them, or a little piece of home that we don't realize maybe the impact that can have on someone. And when we leave, they're now encouraged to.
Right. So I'm not a grandfather, but I am a father. And I was talking to a guy not too long ago, and a guy I really respect, and I was like, hey, what's it like to be a grandfather? And he like got teary-eyed. He was like, as good as it is to be a father, I love being a grandfather. There's nothing like your grandchild walking up and hugging your legs. So like one thing we've done is we've taken like grandparents' Christmas gifts to their grandkids. And so just to help be a bridge there,
that's awesome.
I hope that encourages the people in the field, hope it encourages their families back home. But then like our people going like what you're talking about, like it just opens their eyes maybe to a world or a thought that they've never had before, because we only know what we know, and we only know because of what we learn or what we see or what we experience. And so it provides those opportunities to know and learn and experience new things.
So you've seen it impact, like, and obviously, and I'm just, I see like, it's like 3 layers of impact.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've got the people that like are partners and their families that are there long-term,
right,
that we're able to encourage and inspire and hopefully bless, and all those. And then also the people they're trying to reach.
Right.
Like we're help do, like I heard you say, you're able to do things for them to help that it would have taken them forever to do.
Right.
But then it also impacts like the people that go, what are some ways that you see that impact in people who've gone on short-term trips, they come back, and how has that changed their life and perspective?
So even just this last week, I guess it'll be 2 weeks ago by the time this comes out, like we went to San Diego over spring break, and we took 37 people, and several first-timers, several people that have been before, and this one guy, well, a couple of guys, they got to experience a new culture, even just like California culture. That's so in so many ways different than ours, but they also got to experience this Arab culture, and they got to experience this Asian culture, even if it's just something as small as food, like the smells and the sounds, and just hearing people speak a language that is not your own. It's like we go to this little, I guess it's like a community inside of San Diego called El Cajon, and there's like over 100,000 people there that don't speak English on a daily basis, which, I mean, that's a huge number. That's more people than we have in our entire county.
That's wild.
And so, just being able to hear people's stories and the things that they've seen and the things they've experienced and where their families still are is just so different than what we experience. I mean, really, for the most part, in our church and in our community, like we've never had war in our town. I don't know that we've ever had war in our town, let alone years and years and years of war. And we've never had a problem with kids starving to death in our, I mean, there's food available. Now, does every child in our community always have food? No, but it's an option. It's not like our grocery stores are just out. And so those kinds of moments are really impactful on our church people. And I hope they are impacted for the sake of the gospel. Like, okay, God, I saw this and I don't really have a place for it. Help me to live in that and let it change the way I look at the world because of the gospel.
That's good, man. There's a word floating in my head that I don't remember many words from college. Is that bad? Anyway,
right.
I'm a procrastinator, man. I did a lot of stuff last minute. I apologize. I learned my last semester. Anyways, like ethnocentric is the word.
Yeah.
And I remember that word because I was kind of like accidentally, like, I think it's not like it's bad in the sense that like, it's just where everything, all you know is your little world.
Right.
And so I hear you saying, man, it's so helpful to get out of that. And I would agree with that. I was like, man, like my first mission trip was through this church.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yep. We went to Taiwan.
Okay.
And it blew my mind. Now, the first time I got an exposure to just outside world was, I was a Georgia boy who came to Arkansas, but I met my first international student at Ouachita Baptist. He was from Japan. And just, that was the first, like, oh, there's other, I know that sounds, but like sometimes I forget that some people, like there is a massive world out there with different languages and different, Why do you get so excited for people to because it's all, I mean, I'm sad that it took me, till age 19 to get that, right? I just didn't know. I didn't know, man. What makes you excited for people to have those opportunities through our church?
I feel like because of where we live and the culture we live in, we are pretty insulated, and I think that's not a bad thing. That could be a good thing.
Yeah.
But there is a part of it that can be negative. Like sometimes I think we're scared of what we don't know. And so my hope is that we can experience new things in a relatively safe way.
Yeah.
And that will open up people's eyes to that the world is a pretty small place. Like it's big, but it's small, and it feels smaller and smaller the more I travel. And that it's beautiful. Like God created this place, and he created people, and he created culture, and he created us differently. And I want people to experience that. Like it really does like make my view of God greater, and like he is more and more magnificent the more and more I see, and the more and more I experience. And so it really, like for me personally, it does that. But I also want people to understand that there is a lost and dying world, and that God longs for them to be in relationship with him, to be adopted into his family, and inside of their culture, with their own language, with their own, whatever, they can praise and worship God in a completely different way, and it still be honoring to him. And that's a really fun thing when you watch people experience that, like for the first time. Yeah. When you hear somebody pray in Arabic or when they sing these Arabic songs that are not like, we're going to sing the first chorus, and then we're going to sing, or the first verse and then the chorus and then the second verse, and then, however music works. And, and it's just so different. Yeah. But there's this beautiful thing about how God created us to worship. And because we're different and we live in different places and have different cultures, watching people do that to the same God is so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I love it, man. There's certainly benefit to, we've threefold: the people who go, the people who we go to partner with, and also the people who they're trying to reach. And it's awesome. And I agree with you. But we also know there's hurdles sometimes for people. Like there's different maybe fears they have. How do we, have you seen a common fear, or how do we maybe, how do we handle those things? Because it can be scary. Like, oh man, I know there can be different fears, and we don't have to get into the fears, but I think that's a fair thing to address. And I'd love for you to help encourage people right now who might think, man, I kind of want to do that, but I don't know about this or whatever. How do we overcome those fears to go
So
forward?
One thing that I feel like, and maybe I'm getting off on a different question, but like one thing that I feel like stops people or like puts a hurdle in the way of people going is finances.
Okay. Yeah.
So I had somebody come to me just a month ago and like, hey, I really want to go to San Diego, but I can't afford it. And I tell people all the time, it's been one of the most joyful things that I get to do in my job is like, let's not let money stop you from this. Like, let's walk down this path and let's see if God will open these doors. Like, let's pray. I'll pray with you, and let's just see what happens. And, dude, over and over and over, I bet 5 times in the last month, somebody came to me and said, hey, I want to pay for this person's trip. I can't go.
That's
Either
awesome.
I physically can't go, or I just don't have time to go right now, but I have the resources for it. I want to provide the finances for somebody else to go. And I get a really cool benefit of being able to tell somebody like, hey, remember how that thing we've been praying about? God answered that prayer. That's been so much fun. So like finances is one of those things.
And that's a huge fear. No, I think that's accurate. That's a great,
I think being just scared of the unknown, kind of like I talked about earlier, it is something that people really struggle with. Or, we go to this place in the Middle East that, there's war there, there's been war there, and there is going to be war there. But knowing that we have partners there that, are about safety and like, how can we do these things? How can we reach these people in a safe way and be informed and trust that God's going to take care of us? I have people that are scared of flying, and I know that's a real legitimate fear. I don't have it. And so there are times when it almost feels like I'm calloused toward it. But at the same time, like, I have to remember with whatever my fear is too, because I have fears, God is in control of these things. I want to be living inside of his will. So I have to lay those fears down too. I recently became a father in the last 2 years. We adopted Jack. When I was flying back from Southeast Asia, we had this turbulence on the airplane, and it was pretty intense. It was the first time I feel like I'd experienced turbulence like that. And I was
like
scared.
more than just a normal bump.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah. And about 30 seconds into this, like, I was super anxious. I was sweaty. I could feel my blood pressure just through the roof. And I had this moment. And I really do think it was a gift from God. Like, hey, Brad, I got this. And I said, all right, if this is how I'm going to go, I'm good with it. Just provide a man to help raise my son. And that was hard. And I went back to sleep.
And then you woke up.
I did. And it was all good. And so like it makes me emotional thinking about that. But like, I want to be obedient to what God's called me to do. And in a lot of ways feel like that God has gifted me to do. So I want to have obedience in that. But I don't want to be dumb either, but there's so many things that are out of my control that I have to give up to God.
Is it fair to say that if I'm going to do anything in life, and certainly mission trips are under that umbrella, like, I can't expect that, like, there's probably going to have to be a little dying to self.
100%.
Like,
that's what Jesus calls us to. I mean, over and over and over again, whether it's, I'm going to, Sunday's Gideon Sunday. We're going to be passing out these Bibles. We're going to be talking to people about having gospel conversations at the mission banquet. Okay, what's going to stop me from these things? Like, what am I scared of? Am I scared of being rejected? In America, we don't know what we struggle with. Am I scared of dying? And Paul talks about, like, man, there's a reward for these things. And if God wants us to, whatever, then we need to do it. And we don't need to let our fears stop us from that.
And I feel like our church has done a good job of watching you guys from like missions. You've done a good job of like, and our partners, they keep an eye on these things. So to your point, it's not like we're sending people to sure danger.
And they've told us before, like, hey, maybe let's delay a couple weeks. Perfect. That's why we have travel agents that help us navigate those logistical
And that's
things.
why I really want people who are listening, like, man, I have full confidence in you guys that if there's a trip happening, like, or if something in a country started to, like, we're going to hear about it. We're going to know,
for sure.
And there's adjustments made. But then there's...
And I think that's where partnership comes in. Like, it's not, and that's the strategic part of partnership. It's not just we go do trips. It's we have an ongoing relationship with these people.
Like that,
It's not like we just land and pick up where we left off last time.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. I love that. There's somewhere I was going to go. No,
totally
you're good,
man.
You're good. It's good. I was thinking about it's just fun. Oh, I heard at one point, like, safety's not a place. And I think it was when I getting ready to do the Journeyman. But I love that because I was going to the Middle East, and I know a lot of people, my family member, like, were super concerned, like, and then you get there and it's like you said, it's like, wait, have you seen people who've gone, like, to us wherever they might go, and, like, have you seen kind of their perspective of people change? Because I feel like that's what happened with me is, like, you realize, like, people, you said this earlier.
Yeah.
Man, God made everyone, and these cultures are beautiful and amazing, and we can learn a lot from them. Has that been fun to watch people shift that? And so, like, I guess what I'm saying is, this is where I was, like, how neat is it for you to see people overcome those fears, whatever it may be, flying, people, whatever, finances, whatever. How fun is it for you to watch people overcome that?
It's great. Like, watching people grow in their relationship with God. Hey, I'm going to trust you with whatever I'm afraid of. And then, or I'm going to trust you with, I'm just uncomfortable with trying to begin to have conversations with you. I'm going to start a conversation with somebody. I mean, it's things as small as that, or like, I'm scared of, I won't be able to find anything I like to eat. I mean, that's a real fear. And there's places that we go that are even hard for me sometimes to find something that I want, but like, that's part of the deal.
Yeah.
And so, we work with this guy in San Diego in a neighborhood called Mount Hope, and there are actual gangs there. And in the next neighborhood over, there are gangs that they don't get along with. And so I trust our partner there to help us navigate these things, knowing that he's lived in this neighborhood for more than 15 years. He's navigated these things, and he helps us to be safe. And he even told us, he's like, trust me, guys, no one thinks that you're in a gang. And I was like, I wonder why not. And I'm like, just happy-go-lucky, happy to be there.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. All right, so let me ask this, because, hey, we always want our church members to consider, man, short-term trips are amazing.
Yeah.
Who is this for? Like, in our church family, like, who can a short-term mission trip be for?
Right. So I took a 10-year-old to San Diego.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, he didn't do everything that everybody else did. Like, we had to allow him to have some time, because he's 10.
Yeah.
To do some different things. So like one day he just like watched a movie one afternoon because he was exhausted.
Yeah.
And then we've taken, we've taken people in their 70s overseas.
That's awesome. And I'm guessing anything in between is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
And like we go to the Himalayas and we trek.
Yeah.
Like there's a physical requirement to that.
What if someone's making that? Cause I know it's like, even if I feel like, someone may have the reaction, but I don't feel like I'm, good enough to go, or I don't know enough, or I don't, there's those things.
Yeah.
How would we encourage them to say, hey,
as far as like not knowing enough, like I met a lady that was 65 in the Himalayas. You're talking about 30 miles from a road. Like I got to walk or ride a donkey to get there, who had never heard of Jesus.
Wow.
Not just like, I don't really know anything about him, but like,
it was a new name.
Is Jesus someone in the next village that I don't know? And so like we grow up in this place and we have Bible stories just like in our minds. And okay, go and just tell people these stories about Jesus. Like Jesus has power over weather. He has power over sickness. He has power over demons. He has power over death, other people's death. He has power over his own death. Just tell people stories. I'm not good enough. Well, me either. But so I have sin issues in my life like we all do. And I am working to become more and more like Christ. That's an ongoing thing that I'm doing. And so, there's going to be issues that people have when it's like, hey man, this might not be the best thing for you right now.
Yeah.
Let's throw up maybe like the yellow light and let's work on these things. And then let's have this open conversation about where we're at.
That's good. I love that, man. Well, I know we've got a missions banquet, and I want to be fair because we've had a number of these, right? And I know it's always fun to see you get excited about this. Our church gets excited. And so this might be something, not just in promotion for this year, but for next year. What do you love most about missions night?
I love when just a large group of people come together for a single purpose. Like, we come together on Sundays and we worship together, and I love that. And I'm not saying this is better than that. This is not better than that. This is in addition to that. But I get the opportunity to cast some vision for what I feel like God is putting on my heart. So like last year was one heart, one mind. And we talked about prayer. Like we want to be a praying people. James talks about like you have not because you ask not. When we join people in prayer, we get to celebrate more when God answers those prayers. So like if I'm praying with Arlo about something and we're praying about that together and God answers that prayer, you can celebrate with us. But Arlo and I will celebrate in a different way because we've engaged in this prayer relationship together.
Yeah.
So like one heart, one mind. This year's one heart, one mind, one task. So what we're going to be talking about is sharing the gospel in our oikos, which is this Greek word that's like home or like home plus.
Okay.
And so I am so excited about people. Like we're going to give away these Bibles on Sunday, Gideon Sunday, and I'm going to talk about sharing the gospel. And then on Tuesday, people are going to come and we're going to talk about sharing the gospel. Like, how do I decide who to share the gospel with? How do I share the gospel? And we're going to practice those things. And I really just hope it's a time where people can focus on, God has provided me with these opportunities for his glory. And I'm going to take them and we're going to pray about them together. And it's an opportunity for our church to celebrate what we've done, where we're going, the partnerships we have, and for people to get information about things that they might not know about, like the Himalayas or like disaster relief or Joy Tree, or we have this new counseling thing through the Arkansas Baptist State Convention, Connected Family Ministries, with Living Well Counseling. I know that was like a lot of words right there together, but like, this is a new thing for our town, and we're partnering with them, and they're going to be here. And one of the guys that, helps run that ministry is going to speak for just a few minutes. So hopefully what it does is it provides our church with like, hey, here's what we do. Here's where our heart is. And this is what it looks like for the rest of the year, as we continue to move on.
I love that perspective you had about just being together and how there are rewards from that if we just all do it on our own, it's like, okay, that was cool. But man, when you're together, I love that perspective. That was really neat. All right. So someone, in our church, they see they want to be a part of one of these trips. What's the best action point they need to take?
So they can get on our website.
Okay.
And I think it says like,
I'll tag
go
it.
trips.
Sweet. Okay.
And then there's just a little blurb, like 3 or 4 or 5 sentences about each of the locations we go. They are broad locations. Middle East.
Yep.
Asia, Africa. So they can kind of see what's going on, see an approximate price before the church kicks in any money.
Yep.
The church kicks in money for all of our approved trips. We want to share some of that financial burden with people. And then people, I'm available. People can call me. They can email me. We can talk on Sundays. Once a month, we've been having our missions table out there for people to see that list of trips. And then I'm available to answer questions. And I mean, there's going to be questions that I don't know the answer to. Like I'm not, and I don't need to be the point person for every single trip. Like it all kind of falls under my ministry area. But like I lean on Kent for a lot of Africa things, and I lean on Brandon George for a lot of San Diego things. And so, if I don't know the answer, we'll find the answer. And so that's awesome.
No, I love that, man. And would it be fair? I know Greg on the podcast has mentioned just like, just prayer. You mentioned prayer. I think it'd be a cool challenge for everybody to have that and to just pray, just like read those descriptions you're talking about, because it's well done. And I appreciate you guys putting the work to do that, because it looks awesome. And it's so fun because it gives you this big perspective of like, here's all we're doing. You can read the little blurb. I thought there was even a place where you could be like, I'm interested in going or something.
And then
you can like fill
it'll send us an email.
Yeah, like that's
and
awesome.
then we can contact you.
So it's super, super good. We'll put the link in the description below so people can check that out, because I really do encourage people to pray through that, because that's amazing. We have like 25 short-term trips. Bro, that's awesome. I love
We
that.
actually have a college girl going to the Middle East for the summer. We had a guy go to the Himalayas for 6 weeks last year. Summer before that, we had 2 girls go for 6 weeks to the Middle East. And so like these opportunities for college students, especially, they could go to San Diego and spend, I think, 8 weeks. And we cover the lion's share of the cost of that.
Yeah.
Because, I don't want to give any like special things to college students, but like I believe college students are more strategic for the gospel than any other group of people, because they have time and a lot of times they have the resources for it and the energy.
Yeah. And whole summer is free.
Yeah. Entire summers.
It's
free.
awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, man, I appreciate you so much, brother. We're excited. Looking forward to the missions banquet tonight. Or if you're listening to this after, hey, you check out the website. And thank you so much for all you do, bro. And please pray through those list of trips, because there are ample opportunities. And if the local stuff too, like I love that.
That's an ongoing thing that we do.
There's ongoing stuff like disaster relief. I love that you mentioned that, because that's so cool. So,
doing stuff at Oakland School, we just really want to love on that.
That's awesome.
That group of teachers is, kind of our focus. But
I love that. That's like a holistic approach, right? Because so many times missions ends up in this, it's like, no, it's all of these things. I love that perspective.
Jesus talked about like, as you are going, making disciples. Well, as I am going around town, I need to be looking and have my eyes open for the sake of the gospel.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, brother.
Until next time, God
See ya.
bless.